Okay, on the ground at Karachi, we're going to fly the last leg of this second segment of the round the world trip. We're going from Karachi to Mumbai actually. We need to just check that we've got the right leg on the flight plan, activate that. It's 471 miles, which is quite a long way, but it's daylight. We're going to go, it should be an well, I say interesting. Let's get up in the air and then we'll talk about it. Get the flaps in. We've only got 3 miles visibility here, so that's not great. We're going to turn onto course and then we'll go onto autopilot pretty soon. Now, I was about to say this should be an interesting trip. Now, when I say interesting, relatively interesting. I don't know what India is going to look like. We're going down the left at the moment. We're going down the east coast of, the west coast of India. I don't really know what that's going to look like, but it's got to be better than what we've had. We've had 3,000 miles of tedium. Honestly, I did say when I started this venture I wasn't going to use time compression, and I stuck to that through Europe down to Suez, and perhaps even as far as Medina. But honestly, after that, I've used the time compression, so I've gone up to 6. I think you can go as fast as 16 times normal speed when you're on autopilot, and there's just no reason not to do that. Honestly, the terrain has been so uniform and featureless, there's just no point in flight. It's not even as if you have to manage the aircraft beyond. Once you get up to cruising altitude, according to the outside air temperature, you set the props and the power levers, speaking of which, we'll do that right now, to make sure that you're within the torque and temperature range that's safe for the engines. Once that's set, as long as the weather conditions don't change drastically en route, nothing's going to change, nothing's going to go wrong. The only possible exception to that is icing. You know, all across Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states, we weren't going to get ice. So that's what I've done, and it's cheating in a sense, but on the other hand, you know, there's no reason to fly over that stuff manually looking out the windows, because there's nothing to see. I mean, even this is going to be pretty dull after 10 minutes. I'm hoping the rest of the round the world trip is going to be a little bit more interesting than this, otherwise it's not going to be, you know, there's just no point in doing it, honestly. But we've got FTX global textures, and I'm trusting that when we get down to Vietnam, Cambodia, China, Japan, Russia, Canada, and then certainly the United States, that's going to be much more interesting and actually be a voyage of discovery in some sense. But for now, we're headed off down the coast of India. We'll leave it on real time for now. I mean, the land's obviously looking a bit greener to the left. It's filling in. You know, the blending's rubbish there. But, you know, where that land meets the desert, there's no blending. I can't remember how that's supposed to work. Eating up some of those miles, 234 miles still to go to Mumbai, and India's certainly looking a little bit more interesting down here. We've still got patches of desert, but the cultivation is now pretty much taking over, and you know, that countryside looks pretty good. The blending obviously with the patches of desert isn't great, but we're losing that, and I'm sure we'll have lost that completely pretty soon. We've got a tailwind. We've got a pretty consistent 20 to 30 knot tailwind all the way, really. That thing with the tailwinds is going to change. I've looked on the flight plan and I've used this app, windy.com, or Windy, I think the app is called. You know, that's really nice because it gives you a graphical depiction of the prevailing winds wherever you are in the world. If I find where I am, this is Pakistan, this is where we've just come from. We're just at this area here. We're coming up to the Karachi, which is on. So actually looking at this is the winds right now. We should be starting to encounter headwinds right about now. You know, about halfway between Muscat and Karachi, we've got two converging airflows there. So anyway, that's just front of some sort probably. So when we get to Karachi and down to Mumbai, we're going to have an offshore wind, and then as we cross India we're going to have a headwind. Once we get past them, we go up through, oh my god, what's that over there? That's a big system over there. The headwind tailwind business is going to start to work against us, and then when we get up through Japan to North America, well, Russia first. Gosh, there's lots of weather out there. That looks fierce. So that's what's coming. Well, this is interesting. We're coming upon a feature that on the moving map I thought it was probably going to be a volcano, because it's very large, round formation, and I suspect that's exactly what it is. We're just about to fly over it here. I'm going to deviate here just so we can take a trip around it. This is pretty cool. I'll have to look this up on the map. Oh, that looks pretty good. FTX Global, done a creditable job there. You know, this is probably a famous landmark. This is the Girnar Hills, older than the Himalayas, allegedly an important pilgrimage site for Jains and Hindus. This article uses the word allegedly about 50 times. Wikipedia, not exactly the most reliable source. Doesn't say it's a volcano. But there you go, we've wandered off track here, but we'll wander back on. Hello? We'll follow you. Let's follow this guy in.